Days before Renault chairman Carlos Ghosn was arrested on financial misconduct charges, he was giving French President Emmanuel Macron a tour of a factory in Maubeuge. They were all smiles during the photo op, but tensions have been flaring between the two. Back in 2016, Macron said the company's management was dysfunctional, and selling the government stake in Renault was one of his campaign promises. But Ghosn's arrest has delayed that plan, and the government's scrambling to reassure investors and employees.
Mr. Ghosn isn't able to lead the company. Today we have a chief operating officer, Thierry Bellor, who is very competent. We'll see what the administration board decides, but we need to have in place as quickly as possible an interim management structure.
The Nissan-Renault Mitsubishi alliance is one of the world's largest car makers. Together, the three companies own 10 of the world's leading car brands. They sold more than 10 million cars last year, and they employ over 450,000 people in France, Japan, and other countries. The Japanese government's also heavily invested in the alliance, and it wants to keep it intact.
We recognize that regardless of this arrest, it is important that Nissan, Renault, Mitsubishi alliance must remain in a stable relationship. As for the future of the alliance, we hope this will be discussed constructively until all parties reach an agreement.
But trouble's been brewing for months. Several senior executives have left all three companies. Some have criticized Ghosn for holding on to power. Board members began searching for his successor in 2016. So far, they found no one. Ghosn's arrest has only made things worse. Nissan stock price is down 5.5% since he was taken to this detention facility in Tokyo. Mitsubishi shares fell 7%. Renault was 11% lower on Tuesday. Its workers want the government to reconsider the way the company is run.
While we question Ghosn's legitimacy as the head of Renault, the strategy adopted since 2004 also needs to be questioned. The state has an important role to play in this.
Such a reassessment could force the government to play a more active role in managing Renault and its partners, which is exactly the opposite of the campaign promises Macron made to get elected. Mobin Nasir, TRT World.
Seijiro Takeshita is the Dean at the School of Management and Information at the University of Shizuoka. He says Nissan's latest scandal could cause turmoil across the global automotive industry.
Well, it's not just one little fraud. The fact of the matter is that this is going to call for reconsolidation, possibly, of groupings of automobiles. As Mr. Ghosn had been the glue of tying Nissan, Mitsubishi Motors, and Renault together, and that glue has weakened significantly. And we will see tug of war between the French government and the Japanese government in the autonomy of the Nissan. So this is going to cause quite a lot of turmoil in related industries, considering the characteristics of the auto industries. I think it will cause quite a big turmoil. Certainly, this is not just one, fraud by or alleged fraud by the leader of the pact. Certainly, it will have a big, knock-on effect and tsunami effect later on as we go along. We all know that automobile industry has to converge to a certain degree in order to consolidate their powers, especially to cope with the rising research cost and development cost, et cetera, et cetera. And that is certainly, on its way on virtually all an automobile industry throughout the world. And this, modularization scheme of Nissan and Renault was thought to be one of the ideal, particularly to fight off against the likes of Toyota. And to have Mitsubishi Motors join in, there certainly was one strong group. But unfortunately, excessive concentration of power to Mr. Ghosn has led to this possible wear down, or at least slow down of this consolidation phase. And certainly this is not going to put a very positive feature on the consolidation going forward, because unfortunately what we'll be seeing is who is going to take power. Mr. Ghosn had been the one who'd been blocking off a French government pressure, excessive pressure that would basically get into the management of Nissan. But if he's gone, then there would be certainly problems that could emerge within Nissan's management as well. Not only the economic consequence, but also from a societal point of view, because Mr. Ghosn was seen almost like a little bit of a hero, a bit of a celebrity in the sense that he was one who saved Nissan through introducing the Anglo-American type of governance style by rigorously cutting cost. But this alleged action is very negative in Japan because, well, you look at all the Japanese, scandals, this embezzlement by the companies. Yes, there are quite a lot of them, but it's all to do with trying to save the company's reputation or the face. Not one CEO or hardly, of course we have exceptions, but basically most of the CEOs or chairmen do not do these embezzlements in order to fulfill their wealth. That is not the case. But in this case, allegedly, if it is to do with, fulfilling one's wealth, that would be frowned upon very much by the Japanese public. So I think it would be a very big disappointment to the Japanese public, but particularly to the employees and the related companies of Nissan.
Let's get more on this now from Rebecca Chaplin, who joins us now from Gosport in the UK. She's the head of editorial at Blackball Media, the UK's leading automotive media agency and publishers of Car Dealer magazine. Welcome to the program. So there seems to be a bit of tug of war in France over Renault and whether or not Ghosn should be leading Renault now that he's been arrested. The French government seems to want him gone, yet some senior executives want him to stay in place. Do you think he should be leading the company?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, can you hear me all right? I think it's very difficult once you've been arrested to hold a position that important. I think any company would seriously consider that, and looking at what Nissan has said in Japan, they seem very certain that something has gone wrong and he's misused his power.
And we're still waiting for Carlos Ghosn to be formally charged by Japanese authorities, but both Nissan and Mitsubishi have said that they want him removed. Do you think this huge alliance between Renault, Mitsubishi and Nissan can survive without Ghosn at the helm?
It's difficult to say because he has built such a huge culture around himself. It's very unusual when you look at other car companies to see someone who is such a personality and plays such a vital role across three big brands. I mean, when people think about each of those brands individually and as a whole, they think of him. And him having French citizenship obviously helps with the French side. I think there's going to be quite a bit of a tug of war because if a Japanese person takes control, how is that going to play out with the French government? Who within the Renault side of things could fill that void? At the moment, there's not really anyone clear. I mean, if they've looked for a long time for someone to succeed him, and he has quashed any discussion of that we've tried to get out of him. So it's very, very difficult to see how that's going to play out, but I think it's going to be quite a long period of trying to work out what the future is for these companies.
Yes, and the scandal has also revealed a bit of friction within this alliance. As you pointed out, Nissan has come out swinging against Carlos Ghosn, saying that he held too much power within that structure, that the very structure of this alliance allowed for financial misconduct to go undetected. Do you agree with what Nissan has had to say, and was this partnership doomed to fail?
Looking at it now, he did have an enormous amount of power, but he was given that power because he is very good at his job. He's made a fantastic career for himself by proving that he can cost cut, and he comes in and sorts these companies out and makes them profitable. So it's very easy, I think, in any business when the times are good to put your faith in the person that's making you money, and then when times become more difficult, you put him under scrutiny and these things come up. So there's definitely a structure there which has allowed for this to happen. And looking at what Nissan has said, that they're going to, well, their CEO has said, when we find out everything that's happened, we will feel the same as him. That does fill me with, I do agree with him at this point that something has gone wrong.
And just briefly, Rebecca, what about Carlos Ghosn's legacy? He has been credited with saving both Renault and Nissan from the brink of collapse. Tell us more about what he's achieved in the auto industry.
Well, when you look at his career, he started at Renault back in 1996, so that's a tremendous amount of time to be in power at huge manufacturers. I mean, they're some of the biggest players in the world, household names. And he's gone in, he's cost cut, he's been really ruthless, and he's made a lot of people unhappy in the process, but he's turned these companies around from not making any money and looked at their product line, looked at how they run things and completely transformed them into really, really profitable companies that we see today.
Fascinating stuff. Rebecca Chaplin in the UK. We'll have to leave it there, but thank you so much for your time.